Hey, Overmaniacs, and welcome to another action-packed edition of the OverMark Podcast. We're your hosts, Dave and TJ. Today, we're going to be talking to you about Dynamite from 5/8/25. That's last night for those of you that are listening on the day that we're recording this. Plus, we're going to have a Today in Wrestling History segment that might be interesting to some of you people. It's not stuff that we normally cover or talk about, but it's topical because it happened today in history in wrestling. Yeah. So, as usual, follow us on all of our socials for more Overmark content at Overmark ENT on all of your social media du jour. And with that, we're going to throw it over to TJ, and he's going to tell us a little bit about Dynamite. TJ, how's it going, man?
I'm not too bad,
Long time no see.
Oh yeah, just about every day I think we're talking to each other, and it's always about wrestling too. Even before we were doing this, huh?
Yeah.
But yeah, AEW Dynamite 5/7/25. They had an attendance of 2,822. I'm sure they let everybody else in. That's just what was sold before. They probably had that place filled out, at least for what they had it set up for. It was at the Masonic.
If not, it was a near sellout, which is pretty good.
Well, I mean, they give tickets out too. But they're at the Masonic Temple Theater in Detroit, Michigan. Current setup was for 3,142. Available tickets were 320. Near sellout. That place looked pretty cool. I liked it a lot.
Yeah, it looked cool on television. Props to AEW for having Dynamite in two cool looking venues 2 weeks in a row.
Well, they've been doing that a lot, and remember people were telling them to do this a while ago, and they just kept not doing it. I guess they had everything locked in beforehand, but man, it's really like the acoustics in that place. That crowd when they were hot, you could hear them. It was set up pretty well, and there were times where it looked like not many people were chanting, and you could still really hear it. So
yeah.
They had everything set up right, and it looked amazing. The ceiling looked really cool, I thought. You never see anything like that, and it was an old school style. Like, I don't know what you call the kind of style that was, but it was neat. But enough about that. They had some new intro music when we got in. You Wanted War by Sum 41. I haven't listened to them intentionally since I've been a teenager. They got a couple of songs.
What is it, 2002 here or something?
Yeah, I don't know. I just remember that kid with the spiky blonde hair and some pool or something and some music video on MTV, and that's about my...
Only thing I know about that band and that kid is he was with Avril Lavigne there for a while. So, good on him. Dude looks like a thumb and is punching way above his weight class there for a while. But, I mean, I think she was with the Nickelback guy, too. So, maybe she probably just likes ugly dudes. I don't know. But anyway, back to Dynamite.
Yeah, so, I don't know. They focus on a lot of stuff like that's real little that doesn't really need to change, and it's not going to increase the quality of your show or really bring anything new in. You've just spent money for no reason because well, this isn't working, let's try something else, maybe this will work, and that's not really what you do. You just kind of need to more improve and focus on the main aspect of the show, which is the writing and the wrestling, and everything else will fall into place. Nobody really gives a fuck about your song, and I don't know, you see this on all kinds of weird different production things that they change all the time, trying to nitpick stuff, and it just seems kind of pointless to me. I don't know if any of that makes any sense, but it's just something that I see pretty frequently throughout the history of this show. But the crowd was definitely pretty hot. Hangman Adam Page comes out. He got a huge pop. They did the cowboy shit chants. He was questioning why the fans still supported him and described described him as a special hell the past 2 years. After the cage match with Swerve, he felt nothing after nearly destroying him. It meant an eternal struggle. Vengeance on Swerve didn't bring him any peace or joy. He says it'll never truly, fully forgive him, but he decided that he's going to let it go and move on. He declared his entry, moving forward, declares entry into the Owen Hart Cup tournament, which he's already in that. He's in the finals. So that's a
I don't know why
to describe that. But yeah, he's in there and was just talking about going forward. And he defeated Josh Alexander, Kyle Fletcher. His final match was against Will Ospreay. And that's when Will Ospreay came out. The crowd chanted, "It's your birthday." Mutual respect was shown between both. Ospreay called Page's title win with the Dark Order one of his favorite AEW moments. Here we go again. We got another one coming, Dave. But sympathy and reality check. He acknowledged Page's rough years. Notes Page smiled after his last win, a breakthrough. Basically, he was saying he eventually noticed throughout like the past 2-3 years that eventually there was a smile a couple weeks ago. And he stated clearly he's not here to lose. He reframes the narrative that this match isn't about Hangman's redemption. It's about Will Ospreay's ascension. And then Don Callis interrupted. And I don't know if you guys noticed, but he had that scar on his head was really dark tonight. Like unusually dark. He's coloring that thing in, but it was probably the most color that I've ever seen him do on it so far. And he always has. He gets boos. People don't like him. Either that or they like to cheer him. It's kind of like Dom,
yeah.
But yeah, it was I like Don Callis. I've always been into. He's a good mouthpiece. He's always accomplished in getting people booed, and I've never really disliked anything he's done. I've just kind of disliked maybe what they've had him done. But he can definitely talk, and he's always making more out of something than he should. Which is, what you always would like, right? But,
yeah.
Callis mocks Ospreay for leaving the family, and he warned him Page is a sociopath. Page reacts angrily, and Ospreay restrains him. He, grabs him, but, balls up, Hangman's, vest or whatever the hell you call it, his jacket. He, balled it up and grabbed it. And he held it there, balled up and grabbed it for, what felt like 40 seconds, right?
It was a pretty long time.
It was a while. And then Page reacted angrily, like we said. And then eventually he, grabbed his arm and then, pulled it off and, looked all mad. And they were sitting there, staring at each other. And I don't know. It was strange. But Ospreay challenged him to the tag match before he really did pulled his arm off. And then tension remained between them. Page exits, both men clearly uneasy about teaming up. I know I'm kind of mixing up the pacing here, but it's funny
okay.
Because Callis. Well, I actually like this segment a lot. Callis accepted, the call out, and then he taunted him about having another mental breakdown. Page, and then he was making fun of him, saying that they couldn't even get through a segment together without wanting to kill each other. So he said, I'll take any of my two guys against you guys. So that happened, and it was good. I know I probably explained that pretty poorly, but the point is probably got across that it wasn't really bad, and it was a nice opening to the show. It beats a lot of the other openings that they've had. So what'd you think about that?
I enjoyed Ospreay's promo. I have a hard time getting behind Hangman. He's just not for me. That doesn't mean that he's bad or whatever. He does well enough, I suppose. The Don Callis stuff was really good. He does really well. I caught a little bit of the stuff that he did in TNA, and he kind of is, runs the same type of gimmick that he was doing here. He's great. I mean, he's been in the industry a long time, since the early 90s. I mean, he's been doing this for a long time. So, of course, you would hope that he'd be good by now. But, yeah, he's great. The segment was pretty good. It's one of the better opens. Manager? The Jackal.
Okay, because I remember seeing him here and there back in the day.
Yeah, he was in... I can't remember exactly. I think he was with the Oddities and the Acolytes, I believe. Yeah.
I just remember he had hair.
ECW for a bit.
He
had long hair,
and I think he used to wear tinted red glasses or something like that.
And he had a jewel on his head.
Did he?
Yep. I specifically remember him having the jewel on his head and the glasses, like you talk about. And he He'd have like a leather jacket.
Yeah, he's and he sounds exactly the same, and he had pretty good delivery too back then. He's I think he's always been pretty solid. You probably might hear my dog eating beside me. He's pretty needy. But take us into the next one here. Boy. The little commentary segment we had.
Oh yeah. So we get Tony Schiavone running down the card for this evening and previewing the beach break that's going to be coming up. And Stokely Hathaway and FTR come out and interrupt him, and Stokely is mocking Schiavone over some past comments and the stuff that happened on Collision, when he was going to get pile drived and Nigel McGuinness saved him. We talked about that a few episodes ago. And then Tony kind of stands up angrily and kind of, before he can get into Stokely's face at all, FTR steps in and Cash tells him to cool it. And they shift focus to what's going on with Daniel Garcia and FTR. And, they were saying that they were like father figures to him, and they feel like he is the one that betrayed them and not the other way around. And they got a little bit of back and forth. And then, Dax tells Tony, tell Nigel, we'll see him tomorrow night. And then they hit you with the top guys out.
I like this segment.
Yeah.
FTR's
they don't do bad job. They don't do a bad job as heels.
No, just
I like them better as faces, in the tag team title picture, but whatever they do is going to be good. And I liked this here. And
I like how,
why don't you go into it a little bit?
Tony thought he was going to get beat up, but then what was it? I always get him mixed up. I guess it's Cash, or what it was like, just settle down, Tony. You're so tense. Like made him, and like you could tell Tony relaxed. Like, it's just something that like just small little things between like maybe ways that actual like men behave, as opposed to like corny, childlike, awkward things. It's a nice, refreshing change from how a lot of guys act on this show. Like you can tell. Well, you ever been in a situation where you're tense with somebody and like you think you're about to whip each other's ass, and then like maybe you just put your arm on them and like you can tell there's still tension, but you're just like, just relax, man. Like nobody's gonna fuck each other up here. I've had that happen plenty of times in my life. Where like maybe, or you and a friend are drinking or something. I mean, just tensions arise. But it was good. Stokely's not bad either. It's kind of a weird pairing, but I really wasn't expecting much out of this. But maybe if they keep doing some cool little promos and stuff, and if they actually have like a fucking feud and something happen and like an actual story line involved, maybe some shit will go on that I'll enjoy.
Well, it's like that short that we did a week or two ago when we talked about the state of the tag team division in AEW, and it's like feels like it's on life support right now.
Yeah, there's not a lot going on, is there?
No. Well, anyway, so that happened, and then we get a backstage segment with Anna Jay and Harley Cameron. I like both of these girls. They do pretty good stuff most of the time.
No, this was kind of corny, but
yeah,
it was okay.
They were kind of just fluffing each other up before the 4-way women's world title match this evening. And they're emphasizing tenacity and aggression and vaguely hinting at other advantages. The whole segment's kind of goofy. And she ends up riding Harley Cameron off of the camera.
What she actually ended up saying, she was like, T and A. And then Anna's like, you mean tits and ass? And she was like, well, yeah. So they straight out fucking said it. I mean, this is funny. Harley's really good. Like, yeah. I remember when she first appeared, like, they made her look cheap in 90s porn star like. It was really weird what they did with her at first, but now she looks a little bit like way more like a wrestler, and looks like I mean, she's obviously taking the whole thing seriously. She's better than Jade Gargill is, and we've mentioned that multiple times, and she's probably been doing this like half as long, right?
Yeah, it feels like she's improving every week.
She's better than Anna Jay too. Like Anna Jay plateaued a while ago. She stinks.
Yeah, I won't say that she stinks, but she's She's all right. Yeah.
I mean,
she's all right.
compared to any of the other up-and-coming chicks that are promising, and she stinks. And she's been the exact same for years.
Yeah, it's pretty much, yeah.
But I will say that, you know, she's passable enough, and she's a beautiful-looking girl, and if you actually put her in situations to get over, it would happen. It's just she's never involved in anything beyond maybe having a match with one of the chicks on the show that they actually want to get over. You know, she'll have a little thing where she'll like come. Remember when she came back from Japan and she was new and improved, and
Yeah.
she like I guess won like 4 or 5 matches, and then I guess she lost to Monet. So that the whole point of that was to just, you know, maybe have an opponent for her for a pay-per-view, and I guess, you know, maybe that's not the worst situation in the world, and, you know, you keep getting paid for that, but, you know, at one point it's like, well, you haven't done anything better, and we don't have anything better for you, so it's, maybe we'll just go on over to NXT and see if you succeed there instead.
Yeah. I don't know how else should be doing there.
I know that was completely off topic of what we were talking, not completely, but it just wasn't the exact thing we were talking about. But I'll jump into the next one if you want. We got Toni Storm versus Thunder Rosa versus Penelope Ford versus Anna Jay. I don't know, this not much to say really here, but Rosa and Storm briefly observe Ford and Jay start brawling in the corner. Fight spills out to the outside, leaving Storm and Rosa in the ring. Rosa hits a low drop kick and goes for a cover. Ford breaks it up. Ford and Rosa exchange offense, including a drop kick to the back by Ford. Jay breaks up the pin and unleashes a flurry of offense on Penelope. Storm stops the pin, hits stomps and a fisherman suplex. Ford breaks that pin. High spots before an ad break. Storm gets tossed out, followed by Anna. Ford hits a moonsault onto both women on the outside. As they all rise, Thunder Rosa dives off the top rope, dropping them all again. Post-ad chaos. Back from break, Ford and Storm are battling in the ring. Rosa returns, clears both women. Anna Jay returns with a near fall on Storm. Rosa hits a DDT on Anna Jay outside. Penelope Ford hits a dive on Rosa. Jay and Storm, big crowd reaction. We got the final sequence. Back in the ring, corner splash sequence begins. Storm hits a hip attack, followed by Rosa using her as a base for a drop kick. Double suplex segment on Ford is interrupted. Storm's hip attack looks pretty good. Probably one of the better ones by chicks in the business. Like, she looks legit. But Megan Bain comes in and interferes. Storms the ring, takes out Storm Rosa under no DQ rules. Jay tries to fight her off. Ford stops her. Bain hits a sit-out powerbomb on Jay. Harley Cameron saves the day. Harley appears with the steel pipe, drives Bain off to the ramp. This looked cheesy as fuck. Just like
Bain got her up for that powerbomb just about as easy as Rusev got that dude up on
yeah, but
Michael, whatever the fuck his name is,
Nakazawa, or I don't know. Maybe,
no, I don't know.
Maybe
Whoever
not.
he is.
But like Harley Cameron chasing her with the pipe seemed, I don't know, it just looked phony.
Yeah, it looked like that she was hitting her with like a paper towel roll that was wrapped in aluminum foil or something.
Well,
I don't know. That maybe
the act of the chase too. It's just
it wasn't great.
But,
well, you know, there's a knock on Harley Cameron. You know, we're always being positive about her. There's a knock.
I mean, maybe not. It's just what they told her to do. But the finish, back in the ring, Ford locks an Indian Deathlock on Jay. Storm breaks it up with a stiff kick to Ford's crotch, then applies a chicken wing crossface. Ford taps out. Toni Storm wins. Result, Toni Storm wins via submission. Aftermath, Storm
she did
celebrates.
kick her right in the box, dude.
Yeah. High five Rosa, signaling mutual respect. Crew spotted ringside. Won't go back. But I don't know. Not much to say about that.
It wasn't a terrible match for a 4-way match. You know, everybody got their shit in. The kick to the crotch was funny. You know,
it's kind of pointless.
When did she start doing this? Yeah, I mean, it still hurts.
What's up with these? No, I don't mean that. I mean these title eliminator matches, man.
Like,
what the fuck are these? Like, you know, you got 2-on-1 match, one with Okada later, and then this one here. It's like it doesn't mean anything. It's like they obviously don't have anything for Toni Storm, and she's probably about to job out to Monet, so they're just waiting for that to happen, and they don't have anything.
Yeah, they're just putting her on a run where she wins and looks dominant the whole time, so that when she loses to Mercedes, it's the same shit that we just talked about with Anna Jay a second ago.
Yeah, it's
where they had her go on a successful run to lose to her.
disappointing.
Yep.
You know, I hope that's not where they're gonna go, but I feel like it is. And you know, I don't know if I directly just asked you, but like, what do you know? What do you think about? Oh, I did. You said it was just an alright match, right?
Yeah, I mean, it was what it was for a 4-way.
Yeah.
Megan Bain got a pretty good reaction when she came out. She's going to be a star at some point. She's definitely on the rise right now.
If they keep using her and don't have these weird sporadic disappearances like for a month or two here and there, you know, you got to consistently use these people to get them over, and that's one of the things that they're not doing right, you know?
There has to be a reason that she didn't work out in WWE, though. I don't know.
I mean, when was
she
that?
just wasn't. It's probably been a year or so.
It's hard to tell.
Maybe a little longer.
Maybe she was going through some shit at the time. It's, you know, it's
It could have just not been ready.
Yeah.
You know, like Toni Storm wasn't ready for WWE.
Yeah.
And look at her now.
Yeah, I agree completely. But you want to jump to the next thing?
Yeah. So then the match is over, and then we're progressing into the next segment, and Crew is spotted at ringside. I don't know who the fuck these guys are. Maybe I've not been paying attention enough, but they keep being spotted at ringside every week. And the Hurt Syndicate comes out. They get a huge pop. The crowd the whole time, we hurt people. We hurt people. You know, they're doing it. And they're doing it for a while. Obviously, they want everyone to know that they hurt folks. And MVP hypes up the team as the AEW World Tag Team Champions. And he calls out the whole division. Where are all the top tag teams? That's the same question that me and TJ were just asking.
That's a
MVP,
good question.
maybe we got it. Yeah. And then Top Flight responds, not a top tag team, but they got top in the name. Dante and Darius Martin come out, and they acknowledge their recent struggles and injuries, and they say that the pain has only made them stronger. They say that they know that they're underdogs, but can hang with the best. And they ask the crowd if the Motor City wants to see a miracle. And boom, MJF attacks him from behind, slams Dante into the steel steps and Darius into the ring post, and the crowd is chanting, "We hurt people." I can't remember which one of the dudes that he is, but he was the guy that Dante. Hey, Dante gets busted open before he got slammed into the steps, actually, by some punches from MJF. I don't know if he bladed or if he accidentally hard-weighed him. I have to rewatch it. But then he hit him with a pretty sweet powerbomb move onto the ring apron. I liked that.
That looked like it hurt, man.
Yeah, it didn't look like it was a comfortable move to take. And the crowd figured out what MJF was doing, so they started hitting him with the "We hurt people" chant, which was cool. And yeah, that move did sound disgusting when he hit the apron. So hopefully he's okay. You know, he probably a little banged up today, a little sore, but he's probably all right. Then MJF gets in the ring and he stares down Lashley, and MVP hands him the mic, and MJF hits him with a loud "MJF, I hurt people," and the crowd pops hard for it. They were really excited. This has been bubbling up for a few weeks now, and it's going to be bubbling up for another week. Lashley takes the mic and lets the chants continue and smiles and tells Max that you'll have your answer next week. The crowd boos for the delay, but they get loud again when MJF's music hit. MJF leaves the ring. He's looking like he's in a pretty good mood. He thinks he's probably going to get the answer he's looking for. Pulls the little Dynamite diamond ring out of his pocket. Does the little punch at the camera thing, and the camera backs away real fast. I always thought that was a neat little production thing. And the Hurt Syndicate is just watching him as he goes away. They're all kind of smiling. I don't know why it says tension builds there. That's a bad edit. Sorry about that. Good. But what'd you think of all this, TJ?
Sorry, I might have muted, but no, it was cool. I liked it. You know, the crowd really wants to get into MJF. They like the Hurt Syndicate. You know, they present themselves as stars. They stick out on this fucking. The Young Bucks will not wrestle the Hurt Syndicate. That will never happen.
I would love to see that.
What's going to
so
be the
fucking
look at the
much.
aesthetic of that, or aesthetic? You know, it wouldn't be a good one. Their fucking manager's bigger than they are, like times two. But regardless of that, you know, it's you know the people want this to happen because the people are going to be in anything that MJF does. I still think MJF's probably the best talent in the business. He can have the best matches. He's probably one of the best promos, if not the best promo. He's just here doing stupid shit. But you know, I've liked this whole thing. They're really dragging it out, and Lashley's still going to say no tomorrow or on Wednesday. I bet.
You think?
Yeah. Or something's going to happen, or his answer's probably going to be, "Oh no, I need you to wrestle a match." He's not going to say yes. He's not going to say no, or it's going to be prolonged again.
Like the trials and tribulations of MJF.
Yeah, I got it going on right now, but you know I have it muted. But yeah, I mean these guys do look like look like $1 million, and MJF's the man, and I liked everything about this segment. MJF rarely misses. It does happen, but that wasn't the case here, and good shit, man.
Like when he came back from being injured and his
against Hit Shero.
Was it? I thought it was Roosh.
I think that was next. Never mind. I think his first pay-per-view match was against Hit Shero.
Fucking Roosh, dude. God.
Wow.
More like douche.
Wow. But backstage, you want me to jump into it?
Yeah.
Backstage segment. The Elite, Okada, Ricochet, Death Riders, the Elite speak. The Young Bucks and the Young Bucks and Okada address their upcoming trios match. Confident tone, typical EVP swagger. Okada delivers a parting shot to Kevin Knight. "Good night, bitch." Walks off mugly, leaving tension in the air. Ricochet offers backup. He steps in, telling the Bucks he can answer the take care of Swerve Strickland tonight. The Bucks nod in agreement. Ricochet walks off. Death Riders lurk just as Ricochet enters the camera or exits. The camera pans. Jon Moxley, Wheeler Yuta, and Shota Unoma. Death Riders are waiting Page silently in the EVP's dressing room. Ominous silence, high tension, clear setup for a confrontation later. I don't know. I mean, not much going on here. You know, just any segment with the Young Bucks is just generally going to be something that you want to pass up. And Okada's more than capable of just being a comedy talent that wrestles matches here and there throughout the year and says "good night, bitch." It's just, I do like
Is
Ricochet,
that his catchphrase?
Yeah, he's always saying "bitch." Is his catchphrase, but I like Ricochet. Ricochet's been good.
Yeah, he's doing good heel work right now.
You want
The best part of this segment was this is a callback to the beginning episode when we put the building over. Was the EVP locker room, and the doors were like this ornate, like carved wood double doors. And it was clearly some kind of important room in that facility. So yeah, that was. I'd like to see more of that building. I might have to go on their website or something and see what that's all about. It looks cool.
But Nick Wayne versus RHINO.
Yeah,
pre-match setup. I'll go ahead on this one. You get the next one. We got the pre-match setup. Nick Wayne arrives with the Patriarchy. Christian Cage and company. Commentary teases Wayne's opponent as someone from Cage's past. After the break, Justin Roberts introduces RHINO. Huge pop from the Detroit crowd for the ECW legend. Match officially declared for the ROH World Television title. So before I jump into this, it's cool seeing RHINO. His body's weird. It's like he's got the body of like a guy that's way taller than he is. You know,
he looks like shit.
Well, he looks like a tank, but like not in a good way. Like I don't know how that's possible.
I mean, he was always a bigger dude. He used to be like a stocky, muscly guy, and you know now obviously he's older and
Can I ask you a question?
Time does what Father Time. Yeah.
So, what's the point of a championship in wrestling?
Well, generally it's used to elevate the talent that is wearing it, so that he is made to be more believable of a competitor on your television program.
What happens when you have 20 of those?
It devalues the fuck out of them.
So when you have Adam Cole with the TNT title and he's not on the show, and then you're having another show's championship, the RH World Television title, on your show, trying to further some kind of story That I'm not minding the story, by the way. That's not my complaint. My complaint is the prop that they're using to do it with. The ROH World Television title is pointless. ROH is pointless. You should stop having it on your show. It actually devalues your titles. Your own promotion has way too many titles, first off. So then when you bring these on there, it devalues the amount that you have even more. So, Adam Cole doesn't need that title to get over or do anything good. You could actually give it to Nick Wayne if you really want to get Nick Wayne over, and then have them fight over one of the champion, like have less championships in general, and then give this to Nick Wayne. That way, you can have Christian and Nick Wayne actually working with something important, as opposed to like something that like at least the belt that I wear to work can hold my pants up. This one's fucking worthless. But what do you think about that?
Well, I think that you hit the nail on the head pretty well there. I've been saying for a while, we've both been saying for a while, that they need to get these ROH belts off their fucking TV. Their best bet would be like to pick the most prominent belts and just like convert them to AEW titles or something. I don't know. What do we got? They got the tag team belts, the trio belt, the heavyweight championship, and the transatlantic one or whatever the fuck it's called.
Continental, and then the international.
Wait, the Continental and the International are not the same thing?
No. Remember,
so they have 3 singles titles, tag team title, and a trios title?
Yeah, so let me just pull this up. You're gonna hear my
that's fine. And
my
while he's pulling this up, I'll fill the air here.
Go ahead.
No, that was all. If you're ready, we're good. Keep moving.
No, so this is just this isn't their current ones that I have right here. List of current champions in All Elite Wrestling. So men's singles. John Moxley has the world secondary title, AEW International Championship. Kenny Omega, which he's barely done anything with. Remember, he's had that, and you don't really see him. And then we have the TNT Championship, which is Adam Cole. And then we got the Continental one, which is Takeshita. Then we got the tag team, which is Shelton Benjamin and Bobby. And then, so I guess that's not a lot, but or not a shit ton. But the TNT, the International, and the Continental, it's just like one could go. I know one's like for that like whole like tournament thing they got going, but it just seems essentially kind of pointless to me. Especially like since they've had like they had that. It's the second year of them having that, and Okada's won it twice. And what has Okada done since, especially with the belt? Nothing. I know we're veering a little bit on the side here a lot, but I don't agree with all the belts, and the ROH shit's got to go, and we'll get into the match. But RHINO starts strong. He dominated early, forcing Wayne to roll outside for advice from Christian. Then Wayne regained control. Corner stomps followed by a chin lock. RHINO begins to power out, but Wayne yanks him down by the hair. Wayne mocks a crowd that misses a standing moonsault. Momentum shifts. RHINO capitalizes with corner offense and a big suplex. Christian Cage tries to interfere, but RHINO still hits a spine buster. Near fall. I'm about to cough. We got the
finish of the match. There you go.
No, it was just a quick one. RHINO sets up for the gore. Wayne dodges. Kill switch from Wayne. Nod to Cage's finisher. Pinfall victory. Wayne retains. Post-match tension. Christian Cage holds the title during the celebration. He refuses to put the belt around Nick Wayne's waist. Brief tug-of-war moment as Cage asserts control over his protege. Subtle cracks forming between Christian and Wayne. Yeah, Christian Cage just walked out, too, at the end, just left everybody else in there. What you think? I thought this was all right, by the way. Again, it's just the prop is the problem, but everything else wasn't bad.
Yeah, the match was actually one of the better matches that Nick Wayne has done, and, props to RHINO for getting out there, I'm sure in his 50s at this point, and having a believable RHINO match. Obviously he's a step slower than what he used to be, but unfortunately we're all getting up there in our age, and all of the dudes from our generation are aged out or are aging out, one or the other. And I enjoy the heel work that Christian's doing. It's going to be probably not that great, the payoff of all of this, because it's Nick Wayne. You know, the build is going to be good, and the storytelling for this is actually pretty solid. But I mean, ultimately, they're going to use this as a way for a match with Christian Cage to help get Nick Wayne over. But I don't know.
Here's the problem.
That you can, yeah.
So let's just say that he comes out of this looking better, right? What plans are they going to have for him after that? It's just proven time and time again throughout AEW history that they never have plans for guys after they do get them over. And let's just say that he doesn't get, they're just not going to have plans for him in general. Where the fuck's Jungle Boy? There's nobody has any plans. So it's like, what do I have to look forward to with this guy? His weird fucking head?
Nobody's asking where Jungle Boy is. Keep him off on my TV. In fact,
I'm just saying though. I agree, but you know what I mean. It's just like they invested in this guy. They gave him this big push, and like now he's gone. It's just like, how many guys can you just go through the list that, you know, for whatever reason, AEW's fault or not, it just hasn't worked out. It's a lot.
And circling back to this, where's Jungle Boy shit? Where is Jungle Boy? We don't see him. We don't hear about him. Nobody gives a fuck about him. And this is the guy that you fired CM Punk over. Dumb motherfuckers.
Yeah.
But anyway, so then we have another match that's coming up. The Young Bucks and Ricochet versus Swerve, Mike Bailey, and Mark Briscoe. You know, I like 3 or so dudes in this match. I don't know. Mike Bailey's not bad either. But we get into the match. Swerve and Ricochet kick things off. Swerve takes control early. And Swerve and Ricochet had some good back and forth here. It's not in the notes, but I enjoyed their little bit of the match. And Speedball Mike Bailey tags in, scoring a near fall on Ricochet. Ricochet fights back with some help from the Bucks. Swerve gets kicked mid-ring by both of the Bucks. Briscoe also gets jumped, and the heels stand tall before bailing to the outside. The momentum shifts. The Bucks abandon Ricochet, who get booted off the apron. The trio dives from Bailey, Swerve, and Briscoe, and the crowds. A trio of dives. I don't know why I read that wrong like that. That brings the crowd to life. Everybody popped pretty good for that. I don't know why I couldn't say that. I'm a little high right now. But anyway, get back in the ring. Bailey and Briscoe double team Ricochet. That sounds like a thing off of the hub. Briscoe tossed outside. Swerve gets dropped. The Bucks clean house on Briscoe and Bailey. Ricochet hits a super nice 450 on Briscoe before we go to the commercial. That was really nice. His high flying moves are real fucking crisp, dude. I don't know why WWE opted to get rid of this guy, especially with some of the dudes that they have now. Like, he could have great matches with Penta or Rey Fenix or any different other number of guys that they got over there. But anyway, that we come back to from commercial. Ricochet's laying into Briscoe, but eats an enziguri. Get the hot tags. Bailey in versus Matt Jackson. Bailey's offense overwhelms Matt. I'm not going to call him Matthew. Near fall. Nick interrupts, but takes a top rope Hurricane Rana onto Matthew. Oh, I just did, on the floor. Back inside, Bailey covers Ricochet, but Ricochet breaks the pin. We get a final sequence loaded with chaos. A 6-man spot fest erupts. Swerve hits the house call on Matt, knocking the Bucks and Ricochet outside. Bailey battles through the Bucks to tag Swerve. Swerve runs wild. There's a lot of stuff going on in this match. Jesus Christ. And then he hits a top rope uppercut and a gritty taunt. Double suplex on the Bucks. He counters Ricochet's Hurricane Rana into a slam. Briscoe and Bailey hit tandem moves, capped by a froggy bow from Briscoe. Swerve covers. Nick breaks it up. We're getting to the finish line here, folks. Hang in there. Outside, the brawl resets the outside brawl resets the ring. I don't know why I couldn't say that either. Swerve lines up for another house call, but Matt Jackson rolls him up in a small package for the 3 count, and the crowd is not happy about this. I'm not happy about this. I don't know. Man, fuck these guys. the Bucks, I mean, not the other guys. What'd you think of all this, TJ, and my ability or lack thereof to be able to get through it?
Well, I don't know. Like, I spaced out a couple times in this match. I apologize. I just drank some water. But it was an alright match, I guess, for what it was. I mean, it's kind of strange. Like, I feel like these are the same fucking people that the Bucks have been wrestling since they came back. They always do that. They wrestle the same people a whole lot. Like, and there's big, they'll go on a break, come back for a good chunk of time, wrestle the same people a lot, go on a break, and all of a sudden there's a new group of people. But, I don't know. I actually didn't like this match for a couple reasons, and it wasn't really the action. The action was good. It's just like, so the heels won, right? And
yeah,
where's the heat, dude? If you're gonna be a fucking heel, you gotta stop the high spots, brother. You gotta wrestle like a fucking heel, dude. And if there's no heel tactics in your fucking wrestling reservoir, it's not gonna make too much sense in the long term, brother. You can have these good matches, dude, and that's all fine and well. But if you want to be taken seriously and actually like get that real heat and have the roof exploding off the place in a way that you never have, you might have to actually start wrestling as a weaselly coward, dude. You know what I mean?
Yeah, at least that would be believable if they did that.
well, I'm saying though, it's like they're like, it doesn't, like, why is the fucking heels are you wrestling like a babyface style with these like fucking like high fucking these like tandem moves and this high paced style, and it doesn't add up, right?
No. And also, why are some of these matches so fucking long?
Yeah, I mean, this needed to be like, you could have got your point across. Just get all the high shit in, fucking, if that's what you're gonna do in like 8 minutes, because nobody gives a fuck. What's Mark Briscoe even doing there? He's the man. Why don't you have him fucking wrestling for one of those fucking 3 random singles championships that's not the world title?
Yeah,
it fucking push him.
Good point.
He could fucking get a title over more than anybody else in the fucking company, but instead it's like you won't even fucking have him outside selling hot dogs. You just got him fucking around in these matches for no reason. I mean, I always like to see Mark Briscoe, but I'd like to see him fucking do a little bit more. But
right?
I mean, I guess that's what I gotta say about that. Unless you want to add something to it.
No, I think that you hit the nail on the head, as Stone Cold says.
Yeah.
So we'll move on from this. One more fuck these guys for posterity, and then we're moving on to a Renee Paquette interview. I know it's Paquette. I don't know why I said Paquette, but now she's Renee Paquette from whenever I refer to her. They're discussing the upcoming tag match next week that he has when he's going to team up with Hangman, and hopefully he can carry that into being watchable. Mid-interview, MJF interrupts, and he's shilling his AEW shop merch. That kind of reminded me of like DX back in the day, where they'd interrupt somebody's shit backstage, and they'd be hawking their shit before they got down to business. So I enjoy that kind of stuff. So make your money, sell your shit. He tells Ospreay that he wants him to win the Owen Hart. Claims it's time for Ospreay to go to All In Texas and challenge for his as in MJF's AEW World Championship. The tensions rise. Ospreay fires back, and he suggests MJF is scared to face him again. MJF tries to reassert his dominance and declares that ain't nobody on the level of the devil. And Ospreay coolly reminds him, I'm on another level. And MJF walks off, and the crowd's kind of popping and buzzing a little bit. This is going to be a good feud down the road.
They've already had one match, and Ospreay beat him.
Yeah. And Ospreay will probably beat him next time too, unless they maybe not.
I don't know. I'm glad that they're at least showcasing them together, and hopefully there's once Ospreay wins the title, maybe that'll be a long-term feud that they have with those two guys.
I'd like to see them go 6 months to a year at least.
Yeah, I mean they're two of the best guys in the business, and in that company they are the two best guys. So it's
literally.
Yeah, I mean,
let's talk about that for a second. We're probably how far are we from Double or Nothing? I think it's like the 25th or 26th. So like 3 weeks away. And then, what's all in, a month after that, something like that. So we're less than 2 months away from the beginning of MJF Ospreay feud. And man, that's something to look forward to. If you want me to tune in and be excited for your program every week, have that shit going on.
Yeah, Double or Nothing's the 25th, so we're getting pretty close. It's basically about like 2.5 weeks away. I don't know who all they got announced for it so far. It's just looking like it's going to be Hangman Page and Will Ospreay, and then they got Jamie Hayter and Monet. I mean, those will be alright matches, and at least they're for a reason, But we'll see how structured the rest of the card is.
Oh, it can't be much worse than Dynasty, fucking 5-hour snooze fest.
Yeah, Dynasty wasn't great, man.
That might be one of the worst pay-per-views I've ever seen.
It's up there. I didn't like it, and I don't know. It shouldn't be like you're like holding your eyelids up, like holy shit, man. I don't want to watch this tomorrow. Let's make it through this tonight.
Right?
But it was good stuff. And we'll move on to the next one. Jamie Hayter sit-down interview and brawl with Mercedes Moné. Jamie Hayter speaks, reflects on her upcoming match with Mercedes Moné, calls Moné the opposite of what Owen Hart stood for, wants to see real women behind the hype, responds to Moné's comments from last week, admits she lacks Moné's star power, but has grit, integrity, and truth, dodges questions. Mercedes Moné attacks. Moné blindsides Hayter mid-interview. The fight spills out of the interview room. Box seat brawls. Camera cut to Hayter and Moné brawl in the arena box seats. Moné tries to retreat, heading towards the ramp. Hayter charges, nearly landing a Hayter raid, but Moné dodges and escapes up the ramp. After that, we got the final blow with Hayter's music hitting, only for Moné to come back and attack again. She locks his statement, make her submission. Officials rush in. Moné holds the Owen Cup trophy as the crowd boos. I mean, this segment was rough. Jamie Hayter's delivery was terrible. It was probably worse than Adam Page's earlier. Moné sucks. I don't want to see anything with her anymore ever again, if possible. I mean, I guess the physicality was all right, and the little thing where they had her come back in was okay to outsmart her, but, I mean, it's more of the same shit. Did the heels
Didn't we just have Becky Lynch do that the other day, where she fucking ran off and then came back and attacked her from behind?
The exact same thing happened, but is there ever going to be a situation where the heels fucking aren't outsmarted in this fucking company?
You mean the baby faces?
No. No. You want the heel to be outsmarted. The faces got outsmarted this time. Is there going to be a situation where the heel... Or, sorry, no, I reverse it. You're right. Is there going to be a situation where the heel is outsmarted?
I don't know. It feels like they present their baby faces as people with the acumen of somebody that has special needs or something.
Yeah, it's not good, man. If you got anything to add it, and then not, we'll go on.
Oh no, maybe they swerve us and have Jamie Hayter win this, but we all know that's not going to happen. But I'm sure it'll actually be a quality match. Like we talked about on the show the other day, Mercedes works to her opponent's ability a lot of times, and Hayter can go.
But when you're in the middle of 15 matches in 6 hours and half of them are 80% of them are the same, that's the problem. And that's why it's kind of hard to look forward to anything really going on. But toss us into the next one.
Okay, so we got Okada versus Kevin Knight, and the match nobody asked for, I guess. I don't know. I don't know why this is happening. But anyway, we get the opening phase of the match, and Okada capitalizes on some pre-match damage that Knight had suffered from Roosh. He got attacked by Roosh on the way out to the ring. Nobody wants to see that fucking guy. Me and TJ have talked about that a few times now. But anyway, beyond that, there's some early near falls by Okada, but Knight shows some resilience with multiple kickouts. He crawls to the corner. Okada's mocking him, delivering disrespectful boots to the face. Knight kind of rallies back with some right hands mid-ring, but Okada sends him outside, gives him the old heave-ho. We get the post-break action. Back from the break, Knight has regained control, stomping Okada in the corner. Would have been nice to know what happened during the commercial there. Okada fights back, but Knight drops him for a 2 count. In the corner, Okada lands a big boot to Knight's face. Knight responds with a leaping Hurricane Rana for another near fall. Then we're getting into the final moments of the match here. Okada fires back with a backbreaker and a body slam. These actually looked pretty good. That was something that I rewatched a little bit of today. He goes off the top and lands an elbow drop. Also looked good. Flips the crowd off, sets up for a Rainmaker. Knight counters with a cradle and a near fall. Knight hits a kick to the face and climbs up to go for the UFO splash, but Okada gets his knees up. The old knees up routine. Knight dodges a drop kick and returns fire with one of his own. Okada counters with an anti-air and finally hits the Rainmaker for the win. And, the final little segment there wasn't bad. And then we get some post-match malarkey. Okada isn't done yet. He lays a second Rainmaker on Knight. Mike Bailey does the run-in to save him. Okada runs off with his little shit-eating grin that he does, retreating up the ramp with his title. And there were times that this was pretty good. I wouldn't call it a great match, but, Okada can work. And apparently Kevin Knight's not bad. So this actually wasn't a terrible match. What did you think of all this?
It was a good match if you're just talking about a match in itself. But
yeah,
you come out and you look at the big. Well, first off, I guess they're gonna have fucking Mike Bailey against him next, maybe in a singles match, just to showcase a match with Okada on the show, which is kind of pointless because it's like, here's what I was gonna get into. So, and I was saying this earlier about a couple other matches. Where's the heel face dynamic here? It's like he may have done a couple little things like flicking off and stuff like that, but generally he's not wrestling as a heel. He's just doing the same shit. He moves at a slow pace, but he lays his stuff in and it looks good. But I mean, there's no heat at all. And Kevin Knight's all right, but he has no character whatsoever. It seems. I don't know. There's really nothing to look forward to here. There's no program between these guys, and it just overall it was just a match, and it was okay, and there's not much to say about it, and we'll move on.
I guess his character is that he can wrestle.
Yeah, well, that's everybody's
on a wrestling show where everybody can wrestle. Yeah.
Yeah. I'll jump into the next one. It's Samoa Joe versus Claudio. Both guys are fucking, good. I'm a fan of both guys. Claudio's kind of like a charisma vacuum in AEW. They're not using him right. There were times where his character was shown in WWE, Like you remember him and Sheamus when they tagged together, and him and Hager in their Don't Tread on Me, whatever their stupid thing was, I forget. But anyways, well,
with Dutch Mantel.
Yeah, remember they were cheering that at when he first debuted, and he was like, "That's dead creative from a stupid company, and it's gone." But that's completely random. Claudio starts strong, cornering Joe with heavy strikes until the ref separates him. Joe retaliates by sending Claudio into the corner and hitting a cheap shot. They brawl again. Joe locks in a coquina clutch, but Claudio grabs the ropes outside. Joe sends Claudio into the barricade, but Claudio counters with a running lariat attempt. Joe reverses with a big Uranagi onto the floor. Mid-match momentum. Back into the ring, Claudio lands hard chops. Joe fights back with a running enziguri. Sets up the muscle buster, but Claudio blocks it. Claudio drops Joe's arm over the top rope. Now Claudio's in control, locking in a sleeper hold. Joe powers out with a snap, power slam, near fall. Joe continues with his offense, but Claudio fires back with the lariat, another near fall. Claudio teases a neutralizer, then hits a springboard uppercut. Sets up with the giant swing, but Joe escapes and traps him in the coquina clutch. Claudio taps out immediately. A huge win for Samoa Joe. And I don't know how huge it really is. It was a win. But post-match chaos. Death Riders mocks Yuta Shafir appear, ready to ambush Joe. Powerhouse Hobbs runs out with a chair, forcing him to back off. Hobbs smashes Claudio with the chair, then hands it to Joe. Joe slams Claudio into the propped-up chair, making a statement. Closing visual. Crowd chants for Samoa Joe. John Moxley stares Joe down from the ramp. Commentary hypes the AEW World Title Steel Cage match for Beach Break next week. And that was the show. What'd you think about that match?
The match wasn't pretty good. I like both of these guys. It was a believable match. It wasn't great, but it helped further the story for the pay-per-view that's coming. I felt like they finally let the Ops kind of look like badasses, and well, not finally. They've looked like badasses most of the time, but they finally got to leave somebody laying instead of one of their guys being left laying. So that was cool to see, and I'm actually looking forward to the match that Joe's going to have with Moxley, and you guys pretty much will never hear me say that I'm looking forward to a Moxley match, but I am looking forward to this one.
Joe's always been good at like selling and hyping up fights as like kind of feeling like they're realistic, you know?
Yeah. This shit's believable.
But overall, I thought this was a decent show. Cool. This is way better than the last week that they had, or maybe the last couple weeks that they've had. But it's still by no means a perfect show. But it was all right. But it just sucks that like anything involving the Young Bucks is just it's a fucking waste. You know, like I want to see viewership real quick. But yeah, I mean, it's it's not good. So I think they got the same shit that they had last week. 629,000 viewers. So that's almost identical. Yeah, this week versus last week, 0%. So it's no growth whatsoever. At least it's not 500K like it was 2 weeks ago.
Right.
They had, what is it, a 0.16 in the 18 to 49. I guess that's pretty decent. They were number 7 in the night for cable. The Knicks vs. Celtics playoff game on TNT averaged 3,162 and 1.00 in the 18 to 49. The NHL playoff game between the Panthers and Maple Leafs on ESPN averaged 743K viewers. So I mean, there was some stiff competition tonight, and maybe when this disappears, maybe they're going to have a bump up in viewership.
Yeah. You got to think though, like New York versus Boston. Of course, that's going to be a highly watched game. Those are two large metropolitan areas, and in addition to that, there are people all over the country that are fans of those teams that may not even live in or be from those areas. So, yeah, that is definitely some stiff competition. That in the playoff hockey, which
I think that's not a decent rating for what they had as competition. I'm not going to shit on that.
Yeah. No. And I think Adam Copeland was at that hockey game. It might not be that one, but he was at one of the hockey playoff games that was either yesterday or the day before.
But yeah, overall not a bad show. And you want to jump into our next one?
Yeah. So we got a special little segment that we're going to try to include each week for at least a while, you know, since we're doing these single episode shows, it gets a little bit of extra for you guys. So today in wrestling history, TNA is born. That's right. It was the announcement. It wasn't the first show or anything like that. It was just the announcement of Total Nonstop Action Wrestling, which would eventually be shortened on down to TNA Wrestling.
You want to know a crazy fact about TNA real quick?
Yeah.
You know who never wrestled there?
Who's that?
Steve Austin.
That's true. There was never any Steve Austin in TNA. So, you know, today's date is 5/8/2025. The launch announcement date was 5/8 of 2002. And I actually remember this. This was in the infancy kind of the internet, but there were still wrestling message boards and wrestling, you know, the Wrestling Observer website existed back then. And, you know, Jerry Jarrett and Jeff Jarrett and announced with their company that they had at the time, J Sports Entertainment, that they were partnering up with the NWA to launch their new promotion known as TNA, Total Nonstop Action Wrestling. In the press release, they talked about how the company was going to be a unique weekly pay-per-view model. And, you know, obviously at the time, especially, that was a major departure from traditional cable TV programming. And I watched a few of those early pay-per-views. It was pretty cool stuff. I remember seeing like young AJ Styles, and they pretty much always had the belt on Jeff Jarrett at first. It's his company, it's his belt, so he's wearing it. The actual debut date that they had was June 19th of 2002, which would have been the first event in company history. And this announcement positioned TNA as a bold new alternative for fans in the post-WCW wrestling landscape, aiming to fill the void for non-WWE content. And they're still around today. They've gone through, I think, 3 or 4 sets of owners since then. Maybe 3. But they are... Yeah, they're doing the thing. They got Joe Hendry. Everybody loves that guy. Even people that aren't watching TNA. Me and TJ don't watch it. Oh, yep, there he is. And do you remember anything about this? I know you didn't really watch TNA a lot, but this is a pretty cool deal.
I was a little bit checked out. I wasn't watching wrestling much at the time. I knew it was a thing. My sister would watch it here and there. I'd walk in on her watching it, and it's because she watched WCW with me, and she would, saw like Nash and Booker T and Sting, and that's definitely where some of the
Jeff Hardy.
I mean, that's definitely where a lot of the WCW guys went, and there were times where I started to watch it when they picked up, and they were actually like getting good viewership for a while. Where like they're it's a different TV landscape, but I think they were getting like 1.6 million viewers at the height of their whole ordeal there, and they had some pay-per-views that did pretty well for the time, and AEW is like a way better pay-per-view company in terms of sales. They're definitely making way more money than TNA ever did. But I don't know. It's definitely a pretty big deal, and their impact's known today, and they've produced some of the best talents in the business, and there's plenty of people still left that are going to be some of the best talents in the business when they get up to their time to do it in WWE or AEW, and they're partnered with WWE now, and they're the world champion right now.
I believe it.
Joe Hendry
is he's there and doing the thing, and he was at WrestleMania, and he seems to be pretty over. And Jordan Grace, I don't know. There's a lot of people that are over there that seem like they got a pretty big spotlight that it's going to be on them. And was it that Josh Alexander, the guy that went to AEW and speedball Mike Bailey? Mike Bailey, at least for like what their style is, he seems like they're like using him a lot, but. That Alexander guy, man, he's fucked night one.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, it's a pretty historical moment, a significant thing, and it's we could go on and on about it, but it's definitely a pretty big deal.
We talked a bit about the Ruthless Aggression era on one of the shows. I can't remember which one, and obviously TNA came out about the same time as that and ran, concurrent with that. And I think that looking back on a lot of the stuff that TNA was doing, probably up until about 2014, I think, maybe a little sooner, maybe like 2012, they were doing really good shit for a long time, and it just had to follow the Attitude Era. So everybody still had the Attitude Era that they were married to, and rightfully so. It's probably still the greatest period in wrestling history, but go back and watch that old TNA shit. Not just you, but the fans too. There's a lot of good matches, a lot of good shit out there that obviously we don't really cover TNA on the channel unless they make like the news or something, because it's just there's so much wrestling to watch. We had to draw the line somewhere. But maybe someday, if this becomes our full-time job, if we can, in make-believe land in the future, when TJ and I could quit our regular jobs and our job would just be to watch wrestling and do this, then we'll get TNA and NXT in there probably. Maybe NXT, definitely TNA. But anyway, you want to take us home, TJ? You got anything else to add, or?
I don't know. It was an alright week in wrestling so far. We still got 2 shows to do. Collision's happening right now. It's 8:51 p.m. I'm going to turn it on after this and watch it, and I'll be ready. We'll watch SmackDown tomorrow, and then we got it's Backlash, right? on Saturday.
Yeah. Yep.
So we're gonna have wrestling 3 days, the next 3 days, and so it's one of those weekdays again where it's 5 days of wrestling, which is pretty fucking nuts. But it hasn't been bad so far. Raw was fucking awesome, one of the best Raws in a while. Dynamite was pretty solid, and so I got some hope that I have no hope for Collision, but hopefully SmackDown's going to be all right, and it's going to be a lot of shit.
Will we see Cody? Will we
No.
not see Cody?
No.
Will we see
Cena? No.
No?
Actually, I don't know. They have his dates listed. I'm not sure. But either way, I actually don't think we are, but I could be wrong. I don't have it in front of me, so I'm not going to hold us up for that. But just check out our social
I did
media.
hear a rumor though before you get into that that somebody's going to be there.
Who is it?
Steve Austin.
That's crazy. I can't believe that.
No, he's not really going to be there. I don't want to do that to people because they'll be like expecting to see Steve Austin and then motherfucking
Say
Dave
his
said,
name and he appears. I believe in Steve Austin.
Oh man.
hell yeah.
Steve Austin.
But
That Steve Austin guy, he'll probably have a promising future. But anyway, let's get on out of here. Sorry for cutting you off.
no, you're good. I was just going to say call to the social medias, at OverMark ENT, short for entertainment, obviously. But just we appreciate you guys. We got the Overmaniacs out there. Hopefully we got more people tuning in, and you guys got anything you want to add, any short segments, just conversation, we're here, and we appreciate you guys for listening.
Yeah, thanks so much for being here with us. This was the most fun that I've had talking about AEW in a while.
Yeah, you guys have a good night.
See you all next time.